Pops and the Rican.
Pops and the Rican.
Look at this. Pops and the Rican. The Pops and the Rican. What's the Pops and the Rican?
Look at the top of his head. Look at this one.
Pops and the Rican.
Pops and
Hey everybody!
Which one's Pops and which one's
It's
Rican?
this is the Pops and the Rican show,
Yes.
and evidently I'm Pops,
And I'm
Okay.
the Rican.
and that makes this the Pops and the Rican show.
Got it,
Okay,
clear.
I'm the Am.
So hey, we are joined for today's show with a special guest who I guess he canceled his event at some barber shop because his Facebook page said, "Hey, I'm going to be doing a show at a barber shop." I don't know which barber shop it was.
But this was too important to
Come on,
miss.
man. That's what's up.
I had to, when you get the call from the Pops and Rican show, you're like, wait a minute, that's a show that I've been hearing about for the last 20 seconds. Of course I'm going to be there. I can't miss that.
Right,
Barbershop be damned.
Oh, man.
And so let me introduce our special guest, the starting guard.
I'm more of a small forward.
Paces are
probably.
picking them up, right?
Yeah.
Paul Conyers from out in the San Francisco
West Side.
area.
Yeah, exactly. That bastion.
Welcome to the Pops and the Rican show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thanks for showing up.
This is great.
Yeah.
So, Paul, in 30 seconds or less, tell us everything about you and include your social security number,
Okay.
home address. No, I'm just kidding. How'd you get started in comedy?
Yeah.
I got started actually. I think any comic can like trace their starting comedy back to that moment where you see a comedian and you're like, oh my god, that's a job. I can do that. Honestly, he's not like even one of my top 100 comedians, but I remember watching a Gallagher special with my dad, and I don't care much. I mean, the watermelon thing is one thing,
yeah.
but I love it. He was talking about wordplay, just why do they call them buildings if they're not building them anymore? I call them built, and I was like, oh my gosh, that you could do that with words,
Yeah.
and then. So that kind of was like, oh wow, a comic, that's a job. And then when I was 13, my parents were out shopping, and I caught a George Carlin special on HBO, You Were All Diseased, and it changed my life. That's when I realized, like, not only that I knew comedy was a job, I was 13,
Yeah.
but that's when I was like, oh, that's what comedy can be. You can be that good and that off the beaten path, because Gallagher's it's pretty safe. He's playing with the words, but George Carlin was talking about just white people and just everything that I thought you can't talk about that, but
He did tackle a lot of.
Oh yeah, he did. A lot of people, like my mom was a huge fan of his early on in the 70s and stuff. He was like, he got too perverse, but if you really look at his track, he was always a subversive. It's just the older he got, the more he got comfortable with just really being who he really was, which was this total contrarian, anti-establishment guy. And I think, it's shown through beautifully for the last 10, 12 years of his life.
So you have did you come from a big family, or is that?
Yeah, big-ish. I got 3 siblings, a big extended family, a lot of cousins and aunts and uncles. Thanksgiving and Christmas, they were always a shit show.
Yeah.
But
And what time are we supposed to be there for Thanksgiving dinner?
oh, we're not one of those 2 p.m. families. We don't do that. I think we try, but we're all very tardy, and we let my sister do everything. So we usually eat around 6, but we just keep whatever football game is on, we just keep it on. So it's pretty low key.
So we should plan on being there at least by 6. Is what
Right.
you're saying?
I would come at 5:59, and I'll be sure not to announce it. Just two strangers with audio and video equipment.
Really?
They'll be joining us, Mom. So grab a plate.
Who's this old guy walking
Who
in?
is this guy? This is Puerto Rican. This is
Yeah.
don't worry about it. It's
And
okay.
we've got a pretty strict no Puerto Ricans at the dinner table rule, but I'll see if we can flex one time.
Squeeze him in.
Yeah.
So,
That's all good, man.
so Paul, I know in part of your introduction they mentioned that you did you win World Series of Comedy?
No, I did not.
But-
Didn't come close. But I had a really, really good outing. The main event last year was actually in Indiana. Forget the town. Really, like there's nothing. There's
Yeah, the
a
last one was.
so at the Belterra Casino.
Yeah,
It was at
it's down.
It starts with an F, I think.
It's not Alfred, yeah, no, it's
No.
No, it's down near Louisville area.
Yeah, I think kind of.
And I can't remember.
It was near Louisville.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was at the Belterra Casino. Anyway, I had a really, really strong outing, and I in the round to get to the semifinals, where the top 8 out of the 101 get to.
Yeah.
I was just outside of that. The guy that ended up getting through for my round won the whole thing, and I lost to him by half a point, which they said was like the closest vote in history, which just makes you feel great.
Right.
I was like, come on, man. We're splitting hairs between his dick joke and my dick joke. And, but no, it was honestly a great experience, and it's the reason that I'm here featuring this weekend. So
Wow,
if there are
that's
any
what's up.
comics
Okay.
out there and you wonder if the World Series of Comedy is worth your time,
Perfect, because
Dude.
we do. We actually are hosting a show at Christie's Off-Broadway Theater in
April.
Okay.
And so
We're hosting one of their one night
Yeah.
events.
Oh yeah. For World
Kind
Series.
of, yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Very
Doing
cool.
a one night event that feeds into Wiley's Comedy Club over in Dayton.
Yes.
Is,
Right.
is one of the regional
Yep, exactly.
events, and so whoever does the best at our show gets a free spot.
Yeah. So it's one of the satellites. Okay. Yeah. I know they're trying to amp up the satellites more this year.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, World Series, great experience. It's they say that the competition itself is about 20% of it, and that's actually true. And I've heard a lot of other festivals and stuff say that, but there really is like the networking, the seminars, the meet and greets you can do with bookers. I mean, it really is just amazing information. So yeah, I'm a real evangelist for the World Series. Those guys have I would be like 70% of what I've got is from World Series of Comedy.
When you prepped for the World Series of Comedy, like, how much material did you have to have? in
Well,
order to-
so in the first, like, if you're in the wild card round, which is like the bottom, this is just for a satellite, or the World Series, honestly. If you're in the bottom 16, you're in the wild card, so you do 5 minutes. If you either advance from the wild card, which I've done a couple times, or you just get automatically advanced to the second round, then you do 7 or 8 minutes, 8 if it's the main event, 7 if it's a satellite. And then the semis, you do 11, and then in the finals, where the top 3 people perform, and this goes for either the satellites or the main event, you do 25 minutes. So yeah, my first year that I got to the World Series, I got to the second round, so I did my 8 minutes. I probably had another 4 or 5 minutes at the most, and so I was thinking, like, man, I was never going to advance, but I was like, what if I get to the finals? I got to write
Exactly.
like 12 minutes of brand new, completely untested material. So fortunately, I'm not that funny, so I didn't have to worry about it. So there was no cause for concern.
Yeah, because I think that's one of the main questions that I'm getting to as well for that is like they sign up there, they're like, well, how much material do I need in order to at least?
Yeah, you need 25 minutes. They don't care if you do, if say you start at the wild card and you do 5 minutes and you get through it, so now you're going to do 7 minutes, do that 5 plus 2 more. If you get to the semis and you do 11 minutes, do that 7 plus 4 more.
Gotcha.
And then if you get to the finals, you do that 11 plus 14 more. That was a lot of math. But they don't care.
I will say that I'm following your math
That's
better than I was Mario's math last night. He was like,
Dude, that was
So
that was a master class.
so now you're almost home and you're out $300. And I'm kind of like, I'm not keeping up with it, but I'm pretty sure the numbers got
Yeah.
they got a skew there someplace.
I think that people were like, I don't know, I think he messed up. That just tells you what confidence will let you get away with, because he just kept rolling through. I was in awe. That was amazing. That was fun to watch.
That was good.
So you you're out of the San Francisco area. So.
Yeah, basically, I'm on the other side of the bridge, like kind of near Oakland.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have like a home club that you're
Yes.
when you're home you're in there a lot to try and work on material and stuff?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, my home club is a club that I first performed at the World Series of Comedy Satellite. It's Laughs Unlimited in Sacramento, and but I live like an hour away from here. Normally your home club is like in your city, but the thing is I was born and raised in Sacramento, spent my first 20 years there, and so Sacramento is also home for me just as much as the Bay Area is, and that club was the first club to really like, yeah, sure, let's give them a shot, and they just continued to support me, and then they gave me my first hosting weekend, and then my first feature weekend, and I told them, I was like, I don't care where I go in comedy, like this, and I don't care how far away I live, this is my home club. And they're like, okay, that's fine. And it is it's my favorite place to perform ever. It's amazing.
That's what's up. So how long did it take you to develop like a voice?
Well, I mean, I think I still am. Every time that I write a new joke that I really think is like, oh, okay, that's more my voice, then I kind of get a little more fun. Like, I know who I am on stage, and I know how to write jokes. So I'm trying to get better at writing jokes for who I am on stage. You know, you can write one-liners, or, you know, like, take my wife please, or anything like that. But if it doesn't align with who you are on stage, you can't be a self-deprecating comic for one bit of like, well, I can't get a date on Tinder too. You know, I was like fucking this chick, and it's like, dude, if you can't. By the way, are we allowed to curse on this?
Yeah,
okay.
No.
You probably should have checked.
It's all good.
But anyway.
No, but you already did.
Yeah.
So I gotta put the explicit content.
Tidy
label it now. Great.
I'm sorry, Mom.
My mom's gonna be pissed.
Yeah, but I mean, you need to find, you know, your voice, and then tailor your act around that. Like, who are you on stage? And that's what I'm trying to get better at. Not just writing a joke that technically works, but writing something that works for who I am.
Okay, so then when you started writing, okay, so we tend to ask these questions to certain comics, because some comics that listen to the show, watch the show, they have questions. They're starting to write too as well.
Yeah.
So they want to know some techniques. Like, is there a specific technique that you use, or is it just, you know, writing? Because it's usually we just jump in and just write.
Yeah.
But is there something that, you know, that helped you go from, okay, these are just, you know, setups and punches, to, oh, this can be a good show?
Yeah. I'll give a few different chunks of advice that I got from other comics, and then just something that I picked up. So the first few months or whatever that I was writing, I literally had to like put my fingers on the keyboard and just type, and just do that, what do they call it, free writing or whatever, where you just literally don't stop typing. Just don't hit the backspace. Just pull it all out. You take a word. I got this from Kyle Cease, actually, like back in 2004 on his MySpace page, long before I started comedy. But he said, just take a word like pirates, and then just start typing, and just an essay about pirates. And if you get 3 little jokes about pirates, that's a 30-second bit. That adds to your repertoire. So I would start to do that, and then I would kind of like, because I'm a writer. I write, and I am more George Carlin-esque in that I do kind of like, when I have a bit, I have it memorized to the word, not because I tried, but just because I will remember like what inflection I used that got a laugh here, what word, like if I move this word to here. So I'm very precise in that, because again, I'm a writer, first of all.
That's huge. That's a huge thing too. As well.
Yeah. So I would take these like essays of jokes for this one bit, and I would just take it on stage, you know, and I'd have it on my phone, and I'd reference it as best I can, and try to go from memory. But then I would just do it over and over, and then I'd start to realize like, okay, this gets a laugh, this gets a laugh, and this gets a laugh, and then you can slowly start to chip away. One piece of advice that I got from this guy. His name is Tony Sparks, and we call him the Godfather of Bay Area comedy because it's just a legend, been doing it forever, and just murders every time he gets on stage. He told me to do two things. One, write out your jokes, write out your whole joke, your bit, and then highlight where the punchline, where the jokes are.
Okay.
So when you start to see big white spaces, that's what you have to cut out. See, you don't have to set up for a paragraph just to get to one punchline. Just get to it.
Nice.
Trust the audience. They don't need the entire picture, which is what I struggle with every day. It's like I feel like I have to, if I had to tell a joke about this room,
right.
I'd be like, so I walked into this room and it had this really long blue couch on the side. There was an old guy and a Puerto Rican that were asking me weird questions, and the tables were rounded. But it's like all they really need to know is that there are two weird guys asking me questions, then go into the joke.
So what you're saying is we're going to be part of the joke.
I think so.
I think so.
I'm crafting something for tonight. Come to the club, you'll see.
We feel very special now.
Yeah. The other thing that he told me was pay attention. If you can, just record a voice memo anytime that you're hanging out with your friends, not necessarily your comic friends, but your friends, the people who you make laugh the most and make you laugh the most, because that's what you really think is funny.
Right.
Like when like my comic friends are hysterical on stage. None of them make me laugh like my friends, like my brothers, just because that's where my humor literally grew from. So do that. Pay attention to like what kind of jokes do you and your friends talk about where you're literally like, we all have those friends where you're holding your sides because it's something that you and I recognize as so funny.
100%, I agree 100% with that. The problem is I don't have anybody here right now to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So,
that makes me feel real warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, really.
I don't have anybody.
You don't have anybody.
I got
Really?
zero.
Got nobody. Nobody to talk to.
I'm babysitting the old fart over here. I don't have anybody to have fun
Nothing.
with.
I got nothing. No, but I totally agree, man. Because when you can really come out or pull a lot of great material when you're hanging with your boys because of the stuff that they even feed you content.
Yes. Oh,
You're
absolutely.
Like, man, I gotta write that down because what you said was hilarious.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
for sure. And then the last thing that I do is just, and I think this is kind of where a lot of my stuff usually comes from. Sometimes I will just get my hands on the keyboard and write, but a lot of times I just do something mundane. Long walks with my dog, showers, just work out, just do laundry. If you give your mind something menial to do where you're not really thinking about it, for me personally, and a lot of times where I get a lot of my ideas is on the way to a gig where I'm just thinking like, how can I make this joke better? And I don't have the radio on, or if I do, it's like instrumental music because the words it can be distracting.
Yeah.
And I'll just kind of think like, how could I punch this up? And that has been a huge help for me. So and then the best part is it's so fresh and you're so excited about it.
Right.
You don't have time to write it down and wait 3 days and think, is that really funny?
Right.
You're about to take it onto a stage. So it's the best.
Do you do any writing with any of your comedy friends? Like, do you get together and bounce stuff off of people, or do you pretty much try to stay in your own cocoon?
Yeah, I'm very Voldemortian. I like to operate alone. I don't know. I really like. I'm very finicky about a joke being your own. I have no problem if a comic throws another comic like, hey, you should try this tag, and then it works and it's great. It just, for me personally, I can't use someone else's joke, even if it's like, hey man, I have this perfect joke for you. And I've had like comics say that where it was a really good tag for a bit that I do, and I'm like,
Just because is it because it didn't come from
it's
you?
not. It's not for me. I would feel like a fraud if I didn't use it.
Right.
Or if I used it. If I didn't think of it, then I can't do it. And I mean, there's always, your Tinder joke and my Tinder joke and his Tinder joke, they're probably going to sound kind of similar. But I mean, if you think of it yourself, then that's really all you can do.
Right.
But yeah, it's just the way that I like. Sometimes I'll throw. Like the comic friends that know me, that know kind of how I like to get feedback, they'll tell me like they'll kind of steer me towards something like, there's more there for that. You should really, that's getting more of a reaction. You should really harp on and give an example of this. And I'm like, okay, I got it. Shut up. And that's really kind of how I like to operate. I don't like someone just feeding me a tag. It's if it doesn't come from me, then I can't use it. I don't know if that'll ever change. I mean, people when they blow up, they actually get they get writers that literally help them with that exact thing. For me right now, I can't.
Interesting. So do you know for a fact that they get writers for them, or is because I can understand it. Because if you think about it, I mean, everybody's churning like hour.
Yeah.
Just like
the thing is,
6 months, it's like, man, how do you get an hour?
Well, exactly. Especially because when you blow up, you spent 10 years working on that hour.
Right.
That you worked on, and it finally got recognized, and HBO or Netflix or Comedy Central picked you up. Now you did a couple movies. Now people want to see another hour, and you've got a year to do it. And it's like, man, I mean, it is almost impossible. Like, I think really, the guys that put out like an album a year, it's like, dude, that's you better be either a legend or you're gonna need at least a little bit of help.
Right.
No, I mean, like Bill Burr, he comes out with a special like every 3 years, which that seems like okay. I feel like he's
right. I mean, you're not really like questioning too much because you're like, okay, I can see the work that you can get there.
Yeah, I've heard people say. Yeah, I've heard people say that guys like Bill Burr have writers. I mean, but then you have to wonder like, what do you mean by writer?
Right. Like, I'm not hating on that. It's just I see the process because I'm just saying, okay, wow, this guy he's got 3 specials right now within a year, and then it's like, or within 2 years. And that's great for them.
It is.
But at the same time, it's like, how can you get to that place? Because I would like at least 30 minutes.
Exactly.
30 minutes of good material.
But at the same time, you are only gonna, your star is only gonna shine bright for so long, and then for the rest of your career, you're gonna be, oh God, I love that guy from this. It happens to almost every comic. I mean, I think you can see it happen to comics that just blow up for a second, and then it kind of fizzles out. It's not because they're any less talented or hardworking than they used to be, but people's attention just kind of shifts on to the next thing.
Right.
So if you've got that X amount of years where you are the man or the woman, and they want to crank it out, and you're like, man, I can make like so much more money. I can put out another special.
Right.
But and they're like, well, let's bring in a couple of your comic buddies, people that you trust that'll just kind of help you along. That's hard to say no to. I completely understand it,
That's true.
Like if someone's like, hey man, you need help putting out another special in a year, we're gonna get you some help. It's still gonna come from it's gonna come from you, but we're gonna
help
pump some ideas into you or whatever. That's hard to turn down. So I understand it. For me, I definitely don't need that or have the resources right now. So I like the idea that everything, funny or not, is coming from me. So
that's awesome.
Plus, if something bombs and it's not your joke, how pissed would you be? Like, that didn't even work.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, hey, get over here.
Fired, bro. Gone. Next. Bring them in.
I want my $3 back.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't pay you $3 to give me that piece of crap. Give me my money back.
Yeah.
That's good.
So, let me ask you this: when you got started, or maybe even today, people are offering you advice. I don't know. What's the best piece of advice that somebody gave to you?
A couple things. One, there's a great comic from Sacramento who's moved to LA, and you're gonna see him a lot for a long time. His name is DJ Sandu. I was sitting in the green room at the Sacramento Punchline, and I knew who he was. I had not made a blip on his radar.
I think he's gonna be at Joker's later on.
Oh yeah, I think he is. Yeah. I think I saw that. Yeah, just a really great guy. Just a great guy. Anyway, he was talking with somebody, and I don't know who it was, and I certainly wasn't going to pry or anything. But I could tell like he was getting frustrated with this comic or whatever, and he kind of got off the phone, and I'm trying to just stay in my own world, not bother him, and he just kind of looks over and he's like, Paul, there's 2 things you need to do to be successful in this business. Be funny and don't be an asshole. And that was, and I mean, honestly, if you do that, and it sounds easy to listen to, but I mean, a lot of guys, not trying to be an asshole, but they just rub people the wrong way. They get too pushy or too demanding, and I mean, I've seen it even in my tiny little scale of my local comedy or in just stuff I've done since branching out. But yeah, I mean, you got just be humble.
Yeah.
Just be a nice guy.
Yeah.
Be nice to the bookers. Be nice to the staff. Be nice to the audience. I mean, you know, good things will come your way if you're that way. The other one that I got, I don't even remember the guy's name. I was so new, but it was like my first out-of-state work in Austin, and this guy, he was a professional, and he was just kind of rolling through town. He was from New York, and he was like, "There's two things you need to know." Everyone's got two things for some reason. He was like, "There's two rules of comedy. Don't steal jokes and don't wear shorts. Other than that, have a good time."
Okay, so that has been this recurring thing about shorts, about don't wear hats on stage or something else. There's something else.
I got nothing against hats.
Right.
But shorts, you know, the guy was like, "Hey, did we get into this business to be comfortable? I don't care if you're doing an outdoor gig in Texas in the summer. You wear pants." I agree.
I hear. Well, it's what you. I guess you're presenting, right? It's your presentation.
Right.
So
And
if you're up there, sloppy, they're gonna expect, unless that's your act.
For sure.
But at the same.
But if you're like a blue collar dude and you're talking about, you know, laying on the couch drinking beer and stuff, I mean, shorts might work for you. For sure. I mean, me, I lean towards pants. Joe Lowers, who runs the World Series of Comedy, notorious jean shorts wearer, but a good guy. I had to wear shorts for like 4 months because I ruptured my patella and I was in this brace and I couldn't wear pants, so I had to wear the same pair of cargo shorts every night for like 4 months on stage, and it felt weird.
The thing I think is quite funny is the comics that are just getting started. Mm-hmm. They get that advice, don't wear shorts, and then they're all bitchy about, wait a minute, what if I want to wear shorts? How come, you know? And then they're like, I've seen so and so wear shorts.
Right.
I saw
This person wears.
and I'm like, okay, if you've paid your dues and you've got to the level that they are, and they've got a little bit of campaign so that they can do it.
But you know what? At the same time, yeah, if you wear shorts, wear shorts. You know, like me wearing shorts wouldn't work. I just because the way I feel myself. There's a comic.
The nice thing is when you set up for an interview like this, and just so everybody knows,
It looks like we're in a nice place.
Right.
we met up at the hotel where our guys are staying while they're here in town doing the show at Jokers.
Yeah.
And so when you set up right next to an ice machine, I guess that's part of
That's a part of it.
Good job, baby.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so basically
that wasn't your patella.
Yeah, no. Oh god, that crunching sound is getting worse.
Yeah.
But no, I have a friend, a comic out in the Bay named Josh Argyle. He wears basketball shorts on stage almost every. I've only not seen him in shorts once, but he's got just a great bit about shorts. It's just the kind of guy that he is. It works so well because he wears like a flannel shirt with basketball shorts, which is how like my friends used to dress casually, like in Sacramento. So, and it's just but he owns it. He's got a great bit about the benefits of wearing shorts. People don't ask me like stuff that I think
if you're up there and you're getting the laughs and you're entertaining.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just my opinion, but
It goes back to the rule: be funny.
Yeah. Right.
That's got to be your job is to give the audience a reason to laugh. And so be funny.
And people are gonna make a judgment about you before you even reach the microphone.
Yeah.
So if you're wearing a suit, they're like, okay, this guy is like on his shit for sure. We should expect really, really good stuff. If you're kind of slouchy, you're like, okay, this guy's like, he's gonna be kind of like a lazy guy or whatever. It doesn't, again, if it fits who you are, then fine. I mean, I know guys that dress up in goth. But they're not dancing or anything. They're doing really dark, one-liner humor that that works for that persona. So, you know, I mean, yeah, don't wear shorts probably, but if you do wear them, own it and make it your own, and you know, just, you know, whatever, wear what you want.
Yeah.
Wear a onesie, I
Just
don't care.
come on.
Just be funny.
Just right.
Be funny, and then be consistent.
Just have fun up there.
Yeah.
Don't show up in shorts one night and then the next night show up in a three-piece suit. And,
Yeah, right.
And then
Throws
next
the
night
audience
walk
back
out.
a little bit.
Right, exactly.
And
In
the
a
next
fireman
night walk out
outfit.
in a thong.
Yeah, right,
Because
right.
nobody wants to see that.
Right, and also, but
I don't
also,
care how tall
yeah,
you are.
and don't
nobody
take
wants
my
to see
thong
that.
bit. That's mine. So I own that shit. I take the pants off about halfway through the act to the rest in a banana hammock.
Some little people as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all part of it.
It's all it all works.
That's what's up.
So, I asked, you know, what was the best piece of advice that somebody gave to you? As Steve said, we have a lot of people that will watch or listen to the show that are newer to the comedy world.
Yeah.
What advice do you want to give to them?
If you're new,
Yeah.
get up as much as you possibly can.
Okay.
There's literally no advice that anyone can give you that is better than what you can just learn. Get up as much as you possibly can,
Yeah.
and then get up more than that. Record everything and listen to them. They are painful as hell. During those open mics, when you first start out, you're not getting booked on shows, and it's just open mics, so it's just comics that are in the audience. They're not even watching or listening, and you listen, and you have nothing else to go off of other than like, okay, I think I heard a snicker back there for that one joke.
Right.
Maybe there's something there. Oh, I said and like a lot during this bit. I gotta hone it down. Those little things, like, it doesn't matter if you're doing it in front of a mirror.
Right.
Record that if you want. But listen back. There are so many times that if you just kind of riff for a second, you get a cool tag that you'll never remember if you don't listen back to it. Just listen to everything, record everything. And also, I mean, have fun. It sounds silly, but, you know, why are you here? You're here to, like, you know, you can get a job anywhere. I could get a job working a night shift somewhere else that isn't as fun as comedy, but have fun doing it. I mean, that's what we're all here to do, right?
Exactly.
And sign up for the World Series of Comedy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, sign up. They took me, and make sure. Get a good clip. That's some actual advice.
Is it
that I can give you.
5 minutes?
5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the other thing. Man, when I first started, I was like, I don't have 15 minutes. I need 15 minutes, and so I spread myself out so thin that I was working on these like tiny little nuggets for like 15, 20 minutes and stuff. It's like, this material is terrible. Start with, work on your 5 minutes, and then go to your 8, and then go, because when you start out, you're going to start with like, hey, we'll give you 5. We'll give you 5 minutes, and then you get a little better. Hey, we'll give you, exactly. And I mean, some mics are 3 minutes. And it's like, okay, do that bit then.
Yeah.
Do it until they light you. Get off stage. Don't be a dick and run the light. And then and then listen back and just get that 5 ready to rock. And then work on 3 more to get the 8 and the 10 and the 12 and the 15 and so on and so on. But yeah, I wish like I could have gone back to when I first started and just because. You get so self-conscious, like, oh, that comic has seen me before. I can't do the same material. Dude, don't do that. Do work your shit. It doesn't matter if you've been to that bar every night that week. If they've got an open mic every night, some of them do. If you've been to that bar every night of the week, do the same material. If you get it ready, because you're not really doing as for the bar or the comics that are half listening anyway.
Right.
Do it for you. Plus, if they're real comics, they know exactly what you're doing.
Right.
I remember I would be like, he's already done that. Yeah, he has. He did it 100 times before I saw him. He'll do it 100 times afterwards. That's what we do. So, work your shit, man.
So what's next for Tall Paul?
What's next for me? A workout for sure, which is why everyone that passes by thinks you guys are interviewing a Pacers draft pick.
And we're going to let him think that.
Yeah, let them think that. Yeah.
Let them think it.
Yeah, I'm gonna see what this fitness center is all about. You know, I really want to. I wanted to make this year a big year for me branching out. Last year, I had a goal that I wanted to do 400 sets in the calendar year. I got to 401. So thanks for that guest set back in August. Put me over the hump.
Nice.
Yeah. But I'm not worrying this much about sets because I mean it is really that doesn't tell you much. Like what your number of sets. It just I mean yeah you're clearly working hard if you do 400 sets. But you know I'm working more of like the quality, like what I'm really doing. Not just the kind of shows I'm doing, but like how hard I'm really working to expand and develop everything. Making sure that every time that I hit either a mic or a show, there's a purpose. Like what am I going to try that I haven't done before? I try to think that almost never, unless it's like a competition or something that I really need to be on my shit for.
Yeah.
I really try something new in every set. Just even if it's one little tag on one bit out of 10 bits or whatever.
Still,
then I'll try. But that's what gets me excited. Is oh, when I get to the bit about the rap and hip hop, I'm gonna try this, and oh my gosh, like I wonder if it's gonna go well, and then I don't worry about the rest of the show. But anyway, but yeah, no, but this year I want to hit the road more. I've been able to so far. It's been great. Yeah, I want to get out to LA more. I did it once last year. I want a couple festivals I've got my eye on that I'd really like to see. And I just want to leave an impact everywhere that I go. You know, you have to work so hard to stand out. You know, Joker's Indie is going to see 52 feature comics this year. I mean, yeah, some people come back twice, but they're going to see 52 weeks full of feature comics. So, and 52 weeks worth of hosts and headliners and stuff. And so, you know, you got to just be on your shit and just do whatever you can to stand out. Network if you can. That's the big thing from World Series of Comedy. Go and network. Hang out with the bookers after the shows.
Yeah, because other club owners there too as well.
I mean, it used to be in Vegas, and everyone would go everywhere because it's Vegas. But now it was in Florence, Indiana. That's what it was. Finally came. We were in Florence, Indiana, at the Belterra Casino. There is nothing to do. So I knew exactly where the bookers are going to be. So all the bookers, they go and hang out. They're like, comics, come, you know, it's not like we're bothering them. They're like, please come talk with us, come hang out with us. And that was like, it was like a meet and greet every night. You know, you get to know them, they get to know you, you make them laugh. It's so much easier to when it stops feeling like networking. And I know a lot of comics are like, dude, I'm an introvert, I don't do that. I know, and like I still don't like it, but it gets easier the more that you do it, and the more you just kind of like just talk to the just talk to the booker, just get to.
But it just gives you that opportunity. It opens up that opportunity.
It does.
And I will say,
sure.
After 20 years of doing this, I say it to comics all the time. Your network will increase your net worth.
Yes, absolutely.
So get out there and network and network.
Yep.
And it's going to help you make money doing this. You're going to get more shows because you're networking and you're proving that you are, not only are you capable of bringing the funny, but you're capable of doing it in a professional manner.
Yes.
Right.
So so bookers aren't afraid to bring you in because they know you're going to do the job they want you to do.
And that's the other thing is that you need to take yourself seriously. I don't care, like, I think that is kind of what helped me early on is that I took myself really seriously, but I still waited too long before, you know, like, before I got business cards. I mean, some comics have them, some comics don't, but I knew that I wanted them. Get a business card, get a website, like, take yourself, get merchandise, take yourself seriously. That's what I think, that it honestly, it is what held me back for a little bit, because I was like, I'm just, you know.
Get some merchandise.
Yeah, get some merch, man.
Yeah.
Got that
Get it, bro.
Yeah.
And you can go to GuttiesComedy.com and order your shirts today.
Yeah, you can go. Yeah, Gutties Comedy
And,
Club.
and GuttiesComedyClub.com and maybe we'll have a Tall Paul shirt later today.
Maybe, you know.
That's what's
never
up.
know.
Well, Paul, we appreciate you taking some time.
Yeah.
out of your day to hang
Thank
out
you guys
with
for
us.
having me.
And
This was great.
anytime you're back in the area, let us know. You're more than welcome to hang out on the Pops and the Rican show.
I will be back,
And,
man.
I'll let you know. I'm going to be. I'm working a little cruise starting on the 17th of March, and I think the first place we stopped is San Francisco.
Oh, very cool.
So I know when we're at port, I got nothing to do. So if you want to buy me lunch or coffee,
Trying to get it in quick.
You will for sure.
be kind. Be kind to old people. That's all I'm saying.
You're really dragging the society down, holding us back as a species.
Feel me, bro.
Help an old man out while I'm in town.
Can't you guys just go already?
Just
You've
die.
had your time.
Go to sleep, Grandpa. Go to sleep.
Well, Paul, thanks for hanging out with us, and for all of your friends, tell them to check out the Pops and the Rican show.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Where can they find you online? Are you on social media?
Instagram at Paul Conyers. My Facebook page, just search for Paul Conyers, and then paulconyers.com. So you can get all my info, bio, upcoming dates. I should update that calendar more than I do, but. Anyway, check it out.
Check out a barbershop near you, because
Yes.
you'll see.
I will be there. Yeah, if there's a bar with the patrons that did not expect a comedy show, that's my shit. I'll be there.
It's a drive-by comedy show.
Yep, that's right.
So anyway, this is the Pops and the Rican show, and I'm Pops.
And I'm the Rican.
Pops and the Rican.
Check us out next week.
Yeah.
Pops and the Rican.
Look at this. Pops and the Rican. The Pops and the Rican. What? The Pops and the Rican?
Look at the top of his head! Look at his head!
Pops and the Rican.
Pops and the Rican.